Hi everybody, welcome back to Critical Mass. Well, we just saw Raya and the Last Dragons. We were hoping to see it in theaters, but there's something going on with the theaters and Disney where the theaters don't want to show Disney because of their practice of doing this Premium Plus stuff. So we had no choice. We had to do Premium Plus. $30, or in our case, $39 if you're Canadian. So, was it worth it? Was it worth $39 to see Raya and the Last Dragon? We'll tell you.
39 bucks.
Mm-hmm. All right, break it down for us, Paul.
Well, on that note,
we just saw Coming to America. You'll understand.
So we have this happy land of Kumandra, and it's kind of like a place styled on Southeast Asia, like Thailand and down towards Australia, all those East Asian countries. And they're all happy, and they live with dragons because the dragons help them with their rain and the water and stuff like that.
The crops. Yep.
Yeah. So it's a harmonious, it's a symbiosis. And one day these weird monster things come. And they start attacking everybody, turning them to stone.
Yeah.
And the dragons fight against them as best they could, but they're down to the last few dragons, and they create this gem, sacrificing themselves until there's only one dragon left. That one dragon uses the gem, defeats the Droon. Everything is okay, but the people turn against each other to possess the last remnant of dragon magic, and suddenly there are different factions warring against each other for this gem. And that's the opening storyline of Raya and the Last Dragon.
Yep. Now, right off the bat, the first thing you can notice about this film is it's beautiful. The animation is gorgeous in this. And the voice acting is top-notch.
Yeah, the star of the show is Kelly Marie Tran, and you'll know her as, what was her name? Rose Tico from the Star Wars. She does a really good job in this.
Yes. Yes. So, no one ever had a problem with her acting.
No.
Maybe the character they wrote for her, but not her acting.
Actually, the main character was supposed to be voiced by a Canadian actress from Degrassi.
Yeah.
And just because how the story evolved, they had to change the actress. But, maybe good, because Kelly Marie Tran was great.
Yep. And so the whole point of this is, as at one point when she's a little girl, the father tries to unite the tribes. So they're not warring anymore. And she makes friends with one of the other tribes, other little girls. And they're talking and they're getting along, they're friends. And she decides to show them the secret hiding place of the gem. And the other girl goes and sees it and then sends up a flare. She's actually was trying to find this secret hiding place for her mother. And all of a sudden all the other tribes show up and they start fighting. And when they started to fighting, the Druid appeared immediately, and the gem shattered.
Yeah.
So everyone all the different tribes grabbed one piece of this gem and ran away. And everybody, the whole place, her father gets turned to stone, the whole place called Heart was turned to stone, and the Druin are re-released all over the place. Now she's on a quest to unite the fragments. No, first it was just to find the dragon. Find the location of the last dragon. And then when she found the last dragon, they then went on a quest to find all the individual pieces. And you start your journey from land to land to land to land. Mm-hmm. How did you like the story?
The story, it felt like this was too cramped to be all in one movie. Like, it felt like this could have been like She-Ra on Netflix, where you had different episodes where she goes into this land, she has to do a bunch of things to get their fragment of the crystal. But as it was, she basically walks into the land, has no problem finding the crystal, has no problem getting the crystal, and then she leaves to go to the other land, picking up a new teammate along the way. So it felt like everything was just rushed through everything so that you didn't have any depth. No adventure, really.
Yeah, there was no problems finding at any point, even getting in to steal them. There was never really an issue with her. And it takes place, they at one point they say, well, Sisu, the last dragon location, is somewhere at the end of one of the rivers.
And there's hundreds of rivers.
There's hundreds of rivers. And where does the story take place? She's on her way to the very last river ending spot. So she's already been to hundreds of different areas, and now she's to one spot. That's where the story picks up, 6 years later.
So the very first time we see her on her adventure...
She's at the end of her adventure.
She has success.
And she's at the end of her adventure. Yeah. What did you think of Sitsu the Dragon?
When we watched the trailer and gave our reaction to it, we kind of looked at the dragon and we said, oh, I don't think I'm going to like the dragon. But it turns out that of all the characters in the movie, Sisu was one of the better characters, I thought.
Yeah, you know what? Even like the baby, there's a baby con artist in this one that's with monkeys. Even the Viking character, I didn't mind any of them really. Overall,
I thought they were all so superficial, poorly done. The voice acting was fine, but I didn't care about anybody in this movie. I didn't care about the main character in this movie. like I enjoyed watching her and listening to her. She did the battling and the joking, but I have no emotional connection to anybody in the story. Whereas if you take a movie like Abominable, that came out a couple of years ago, that big snowman thing, I actually had an emotional connection to that thing. I cared what happened to it. This movie, I will not remember this movie in 6 months because there is not that connection.
But that's because you're dead inside.
That baby,
emotionally.
That baby was a waste of time. The big one voiced by Wong from Doctor Strange there, I liked the voice, I liked the intro to the character, and then he was just nothing from then on in. He was just a tag-along. Like, there was no depth to the movie whatsoever.
So I don't know, don't forget, at the end, the reason they're all in it is they all eventually, at the end of the movie, have to sacrifice themselves, like Sitsu did, to win. And they have to end up trusting each other. They're all from a different tribe throughout the story. Now, it's only an hour and a half long. So it's hard. Once you build up the original story, and then you go on the adventure, and then you start the fighting scene, I think that has less to do with building up the characters and more with, like you said, the timeline is crushed into an hour and a half. So had they done this almost like the Avatar, and they would have done like season 1, season 2, season 3, only did it in movies, do a trilogy, they might have been able to draw out the characters more and more of the land. Like, I would have been more, I think, had they done this almost in the mindset of doing a trilogy and having the big climactic finale at the end, they might have got along, might have been a really good series.
Possibly.
You know.
I needed to know these characters better and care about them before I would say that this was any kind of success. Like, the animation itself was stunning.
Yeah, and even the battle scenes. When they're fighting, the sound effects of the swords and the clashes, you felt like they were fighting. You heard, it sounded like there was force behind their blows. Like, it was well done.
And they had this one sword that could come apart like a chain and reach across, and it was really interesting stuff. The fighting with the sticks, that's apparently some kind of Thai martial art called Kali or something like that. So yeah, this isn't a Chinese-based movie. It's all like Thailand and below that. But lots of good animation, battling, but just it's all surface level story.
No. See, I was kind of worried because I said I might not like the baby, I might not like the dragon, I think they're going to go too kid-like, but I like the adult-looking part of it, like the fighting part of it. I said, great. I think they did a half-decent job blending it. There was a little bit too much on the boat that I didn't like, too much like with the fish and the shrimp and the...
And if you're concerned that you might not catch up what the message is, okay, it's about trust, and they'll tell you 8,000 times.
Yeah. And also, they tell you about trust as the trust is not working every single time throughout the movie until the very, very end. Yeah. Spoiler alert, till the very, very end. But like we said, had this gone into 3 movies, that betrayal could have been like the cliffhanger going into the next movie, almost. If you know what I mean, that they could have built it up that way. where they think they're going to do this and the trust is going to work and everything, and all of a sudden betrayal. That would have been such good, like, oh, I'm on my seat of my edge. What's going to happen?
The seat of your edge.
My seat of my edge.
Well, you see, like the story is about two things. It's about the message of trust, but the plot of the movie is getting the dragons back.
Yeah.
Okay? Except when the dragons come back, it's nothing. It's like they're dancing in the sky. Okay, well, what are they going to do? How are they going to show us that they're grand and this was all worth it? They don't do anything. They just dance in the sky.
Well, they do bring Sitsu back, for one thing. Everybody who was turned to stone now is no longer turned to stone. The water starts to come back into the land.
The land
things happen.
The land heals itself.
Yes.
But they didn't connect it to the grandiose nature of these benevolent beasts. No, they're just dancing in the sky. It was like very anticlimactic. Like they could have come and said, "Oh, like thank you, and we're gonna do this," and no, they didn't do any of that. It's just.
But see, they didn't say that they revered the dragons when they lived with them. They just said they lived harmoniously with them, and the dragons helped fight. This isn't Dragonlance, so.
Like on a side note, I asked my wife to tell me, "Hey, what do you rate this out of 10?" This is a raging 10 for her. 10 out of 10. And she wanted to watch it again immediately.
Yep.
She loved the dragon, she loved the baby, she loved everything about this movie. So, there you go.
And I think that might be the consensus for family movie. Because there's some darkness in this movie that'll keep the adults, and like the martial arts stuff, that'll keep the adults interested. But there's enough fun little running around and cutesy stuff, like the hedgehog guy at the beginning, and it's enough to keep kids entertained too. So I think this movie is for everybody. It's striking a little bit of a balance for everybody. It's not exactly what we want, it's not exactly what kids want, but it struck a happy balance. Unlike the trailer we watched for the Pixar movie, the next one coming up, we looked at it and said there's nothing in there for adults. It looks like it's all for kids. So I think this one, it struck the right chord. I think it will do pretty darn well once all things are said. I think kids will watch this over and over again. If only for the hedgehog and the baby. So there you go. What do you give it? What do you give it out of 10? Your wife gave it a 10.
Yeah, I'll stretch it. I'll give it the benefit of the doubt. Maybe I was tired when I was watching it. I'll stretch it to a 7.
Oh, see, I'm 7.5. I was afraid I was going to not like it, so I kind of went into it with a little bit of fear. And it turns out I enjoyed the movie. I had a good time watching it. I was okay with it. I wish they would have done a little things different, but...
However, I do believe that next year, and beyond that, nobody will ever mention this movie again. I think it will be lost to time.
Or Raya and Sitsu go on an adventure. Raya and the Last Dragon 2. If it does really well, they're going to make... It's Disney. They're going to make Raya and the Last Dragon 2.
My wife would love that.
Exactly. Well, let us know if you take a look at it. Was it worth $39? I don't know. I would rather just... $39 in the theater. You're getting out of the house. It's an experience. You get some popcorn. You enjoy a big screen, big sound. Sitting in my living room watching TV with the phone ringing and people knocking. It's not the same experience. So I would not pay for this at home unless I had kids. Then maybe I would. But I would wait until it becomes free in a couple months on Disney+. Mm-hmm. So let us know what you guys think. If you watch it, give it a rating out of 10. 7.5, 7. Pretty good consensus for us. Until next time, we'll see you on the channel.